Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Evermore, continuing Eve's route. What are you doing? Why are you getting fidgety already? We just sat down to record. Why are you being fidget? Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, we're back, continuing Eve's route, getting to play with Cyan! Yay! Anyway. So there you have it. A small portion of the truth behind those odd deaths you were investigating. I assume your parents also died because of this phenomenon. It was the joy of being with someone they loved that ultimately led to their deaths. They died with smiles on their faces. He told me without much emotion. Well, Ryan concluded his speech in a bored manner, but I wasn't satisfied by his explanation. But that doesn't make sense! Hugo died. Hugo died, but then I was like, didn't even, and I was like, no, it was died. I was right. Okay. Hugo died even though he wasn't in a relationship with anyone. And like I'd know everyone's relationships. The odds are greater with mutual love than it occurs even when unrequited. Perhaps someone elicited those feelings in him. Eve. Oh my god, game, spell it out clearer. For all I know, he might have held you more dear than you expected, given how often you were around him. Cyan! It was Eve, Jesus! But that didn't sound right. Good for you. I had no doubt in my mind that his confession of hatred toward me was the truth. So who? We were often around each other, but no one came to mind. I mean, the only person Hugo ever looked happy being around was... Let me also add that this information I've shared with you hasn't been deliberately kept secret. I've been warning people for years about the loss of emotions related to love, so you're free to share with others what I've told you. The issue here is that the royal family are adamant about destroying all evidence of it. I assume they chose you two as scapegoats in order to hide the truth behind the deaths. Cyan frowned with intense frustration at the idea that the royal family had influence over information channels to this extent. And it's funny because he's been warning people that come to the... Just FYI, you're going to lose your emotions. And if you fall in love, you're going to fuck yourself, man. You're literally going to explode and stab yourself. Like, you're warning people and the royal family's like, nope, had nothing to do with it. Which is weird, because you think that they would be adamant about being like, you know, hey, yeah, Cyan actually, it's his fault. Because, I mean, they were quick to blame him in his own route, you know what I mean? So, well, anyway. But wouldn't this have been an issue since the beginning, since people would die each time they fell in love? So why doesn't everyone else know about this besides my parents? Could it be that you set something up during the cloning process? Of course not. I won't deny that I'll sacrifice anything for the sake of my research, but I don't get involved in fields that don't interest me. What I want is to put an end to this country's supposed curse. So why tell me all this? Cyan calmly told me that it was in return for my cooperation. The reason this fact wasn't known before is because no relivers besides your parents had exhibited such strong emotions of love. It made sense. Knowing relivers revived without their previous emotions, the people of Arpachel didn't often pursue love. Instead, relationships usually formed on the basis of convenience or cooperation rather than passion. Oh, great. Well, hopefully... Well, the music's bumping again. Hopefully everything's fine, because now I just got a pop-up that my graphics card driver needs to update. Well, bitch! What the fuck? Anyway. Sometimes that fucks up the recording, so hopefully everything's fine. Jesus Christ, everything is just popping up and being obnoxious today. Because my tablet, too, like, I've got my tabs open for my guides, and it'll just do as if I'm hovering over another tab. It'll show, like, a preview for it, and it's like, that is annoying. Stop doing that. I'm not hovering over a tab. I'm not hovering over that other tab. Stop showing me a preview of it. Why does it do this? Holy fucking shit, it's obnoxious. I could close it, but then I'd have to, like, and I'm gonna have to open it later, but, like, so fucking irritating. Anyway. So everything is popping up and annoying me the fuck right now. Like, what the hell? So the question now is, why is the memory crash occurring so often now? Cyan had decided to autopsy all the bodies he collected thus far, and the result was they were hacked. Someone actually deceived me and hacked into the liver manufacturing system to gain access to the memory creation process. It was updated to only allow a certain amount of emotion before crashing. They must have lowered the memory capacity during the production of a previous generation of clones. Interesting. I mean, Orty could have done it. I mean, Capucine, But how did he get access into the... Well, no, we know the secret tunnel or whatever. Probably could have gotten in and done it. Only person aside from, a random researcher C. Okay, that's valid, but I'm trying to think if it's an actual character that we know as opposed to random person. I don't want to blame Dahut. But, can't deny that suspicion could lie there. I don't like it, though. I wonder if they expected the result to cause the sort of uproar that would shake the foundation of this country. The outbreak of deaths was influenced by your relationship with Karun, giving them the desire for love. But apart from that, I believe there's one other external factor that has further weakened memory capacity. It can't be... Even I understood that it wasn't easy for the issue to be fixed, but if what I was just told had been shared with the public, then maybe Hugo and the others wouldn't have died. I had a lot to say to the royal family for keeping everything secret. But before I could, the stone slate where my blood was placed glowed faintly with an electronic sound. Now then, it looks like the results are in. You can't look at me with this face because it looks so sweet and adorable and, I know that you have no emotions, but damn. It's finally time to figure out why you bring so much misfortune to others as death. And there goes the music. I was like, we might have to turn this down. It's a little loud. It's normally very low, but also that's probably good. So, we don't get hit with copyright stuff. But also, Jesus, every once in a while, for some reason in this scene, the music is just doo-doo-doo! Good fucking God. Cyan turned on a bright screen with eyes filled with expectation. Ooh, back to being Eve. I couldn't remember how to breathe. My throat burned from the pain of not being able to take in air that I desperately needed. My throat burns from having to do that. My lungs, which were slowly being eroded by something, continued to convulse inside my body as if screaming. Each time it happened, I groaned in pain. My eyes filled with tears from my fever. I didn't know what kind of pain everyone went through when they reached the end of their lives. Unable to endure the pain, I spit up blood on my pillow. I was keenly aware that I was alone. In fact, it had already been a few hours since Spacey left to see Cyan. I need to hurry and get her. I was still in a daze, but that was something I could retain very clearly in my mind. I knew it was useless to examine her. Hurry. No matter what he tells you, you're a normal girl, just like anyone else. Well, I'm actually really not, but whatevs! You're also not normal, so it's cool. He can look all he wants. He won't find anything strange about you. I'm sure he's gonna. That's the same as my condition. Just bad luck. And the end came sooner than expected. Now, I'm pretty sure this was Capucine's medicine. I kept thinking in such a way, but I couldn't seem to settle my anxiety. Also, where are the doctors that, Cyan said he sent to Eve? You know what I'm saying? Where are they? I needed to go to her right away. Even Hugo in heaven would laugh at me if he saw me in such a pathetic state. I knew what I needed to do. My body was so weak I could hardly move. Damn it. Took all my energy just to stay awake. I heard a commotion coming from outside. I tilted my head, wondering if it was the doctors that Zion sent, but...
There he is! Death's ally! Let's kill him before that doctor from Cernival returns! Oh, okay, the doctors were here and the guy just left.
I counted 6 of them barred into my room, armed with weapons. It seemed as if the doctor who was sent here was chased away by the intruders. The man who appeared to be the leader walked toward me with an axe in hand.
Or you could just let him die because he's basically almost dead, Jesus.
It was obvious what he was planning to do with it.
He's gonna chop some wood for you, to keep you warm. A little chilly, right? No? What?
I couldn't die now. I needed to be at home. I needed to be a home for Spacey.
A home for Spacey.
I rolled out of bed with what little strength I had left.
Cough on them. I mean, nobody wants somebody coughing up blood on them. Come on.
I pushed myself up with my elbow in an effort to escape, but...
Take off your mask. That'll scare him.
I couldn't move a muscle. Seeing me struggle on the floor, the men looked down with eyes filled with contempt and fear.
Don't you worry. We'll make sure that Death Girl follows right after you. Die, you freaking monster!
The man raised his axe and...
Who's singing? Stop! Someone's saying stop.
It sank deep into the back of a man who was supposed to be with them, but jumped out to protect me instead.
What the?
Fell down in front of me with blood gushing out onto the floor. Seeing that his axe hit one of his allies, the other man took a few steps back in shock.
Are you alright? Sorry I couldn't save you sooner.
Here! I recognized his eyes, which were becoming vacant from the massive blood loss.
Armor dude? Oh, the drunkard that he helped when he was 14. Oh, I want to die. Please kill me. She saved me. My daughter. She got hit by the royal family's car and died in my place. It's actually kind of sweet and touching.
Aren't you?
Yeah. Can't believe you actually remember my sorry ass.
The man extended his hand to me and grabbed my cold wrist.
I actually became a reliever so I could protect my daughter's grave. Sorrow I felt. My gratitude for everything you did for me. It all disappeared, but...
He wasn't gonna make it. I knew he was critically injured, and yet...
I know one thing for sure. That a young hero saved me with his words. If you didn't talk to me, then the current me wouldn't be here, and my daughter's grave would have been abandoned. So, I've been wanting to thank you.
He smiled at me with gratitude. Impossible. Did he really join these guys for the purpose of offering himself as a sacrifice for my sake?
Liv, Eve. You're too good for this place. Just turn your back on the fools and return your kindness with evil. Live for your own happiness. Kind of touchingly beautiful. It hurts my soul a little. Like, Eve just being like, listen, maybe you should just go to your daughter's grave. You haven't been there, huh? And then the guy's like, yeah. Like, just such a simple little thing. Just, let's not talk about the holding the vomit. It pictured him. Oh, God, I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. I was like, oh, and flashback. If I have to suffer, you have to suffer. Flashback in my brain, so you have to suffer with me, okay? But, like, you know, and then he came here so that he could protect him because, like, oh, it's just so sweet and simple. Like, live for yourself, man, not for these chuckle fucks. Aww. So simple and so true.
And with that, the man smiled as his soul departed.
Freaking idiot! He must have gone mad!
The man kicked my savior relentlessly. The men positioned their weapons with a renewed intention to kill me for good.
I mean, I was thinking, I'm like, is that they're gonna be like, oh, we killed our friend! Well, I guess we gotta go home now. No, that's not gonna stop them. But it's gonna piss off Eve enough.
Seeing how they treated my savior turned my vision red with anger. Went mad. How dare they say that? Didn't they hear what he just said? I didn't care if I spewed out all of my blood. I needed to scream out my emotions.
Why is there smoke in here?
Suddenly the room filled with a white smoke. As the men descended into panic,
Ah!
blood rained down with their screams. Beyond the smoke was a frail silhouette. Just as the man's axe fell to the floor, the silhouette moved to strike the others before they could even cry out. It probably didn't take a minute for the mysterious figure to cut them all down.
Is this Lucas as Boro popping in here? Oh, nope, it's Anko! He's in a frail silhouette. That's why I was like, it's not Adolphe if you're talking frail, but like, okay. Cloaked young man. It's fucking Anko, dude. We know who it is. I guess Eve doesn't know Anko, though. I'm gonna guess based on this.
It seems I made it in time. It's been a while since I used a sword.
See, that's something that, come on. Who uses, I mean, a lot of people use swords here, because, like, whatever, but still.
The smoke dissipated, and there appeared a young, spectral man standing amidst the bodies and blood. In his right hand was my sword, which I had propped against the wall of the room. Who are you? I'd seen him before.
Yeah, probably a lot, if my theory and my thinking is anywhere near correct or on any kind of track. You've seen him a lot. Not in this form, I guess. Yeah, there's something about this face, too. There's something about this face. It's the pose. It's the fact that they have the same pose, but the opposite hand, it's going the opposite. It's weird. It's, like, mirrored. But this face now, the soft, sweet little... There's something about... Now, I just can't not see it now. But then again, it could just be the art style. I don't know. Anyway.
My vision shook the moment he showed me a kind and gentle expression, and then... I fell face down before I could ask his name or even thank him for saving me. All that remained in my mind was the image of him. I'm sorry I couldn't come sooner. I was finishing up some things that needed to be done. I could somehow hear his voice as my consciousness slipped. Descendant of the long-gone drifter, a friend of my soul. I give you my thanks from the bottom of my heart, keeping the covenant with me all this time. I'll now release you from that cruel contract.
Descendant of the long-gone drifter. Isn't the drifter the guy that, like, brought all the books onto the island? So, like, Eve is the descendant of the... Interesting. Okay. I thought they had said well, I feel like they said something... Or was it the Traveler? I forget. They keep calling random people things, and they've had a couple of them in here. But I thought when Eve was telling his story in the beginning, in one of the beginning parts, or toward the beginning of his route, right, talking about not his grandfather, but his just ancestor or whatever, who met death in a field or whatever. I thought there was something, or wasn't. It was like they didn't call him the Drifter. Like the Drifter, or did they call him the Drifter? And then who's the guy with the books then? Am I confusing them? Because I feel like they called him like, oh, okay, that's another name. But it wasn't the same person. But now my brain is thinking the Drifter is the guy that magically washed up. And they were like, oh, hey, this weird guy with the books, right? They can't do this. They give too many names. They're like the Drifter, the Traveler, or the Watchman of Death. At least the Watchman of Death is kind of unique, but you can't do like the Drifter, the Traveler, the Coaster, the you know what? I drift, I coast, I cycle, I speed. Like, just stop being so similar that I'm like, there's like 6 of these, and I like because it wasn't just the one person. There was like another 1 or 2 that were named, and it's like, okay, now you're adding too many of these random, like the random named person thing, and like now I'm getting confused. So I don't know if the Drifter was the guy with the books. Like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Or that was what he referred to his ancestor as, and it's different. Or earlier I was thinking it was different and it's not. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, now I have no clue what's happening. What else is new? But anyway, But then that's interesting, keeping the covenant with me all this time. So, what I thought I said it out loud, but maybe I was thinking it in my head. I don't know. But when Eve was telling that story and was like, whatever, his ancestor or whatever, met death in a field to keep the flowers, whatever. And I was like, I was thinking like, ooh, was that Onko then? And then I was like, well, no, maybe not, because he referred to him as death and he's the watchman of death and we're death. And then like, so it didn't fit in my brain, but like the thought crossed my mind. And I feel like now this is what it's saying. Like, okay, so yeah, Onko really is a motherfucking time traveler. Okay. But also like, okay, which would be one thing. Onko is a time traveler. He's all over. He's everywhere. But how does that work if he's Adolphe? So maybe that's not the case at all. They're just similar things in like my brain after Lucas and Boro and the poses and things, like my brain's broken. I don't know. Because like I'm just curious how that would work, because like you'd be like, this is the timeline, and then at some point in the future, and then you'd have to time travel back, and then it's a loop. But then are you like, I'm continually going through this loop until people like, you know what I mean? Like, is this like Groundhog's Day for Onko? You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems weird. Like, we'll figure that out, I guess. But it's a baffling mystery of like, why are you in a time loop? You know?
My lips were slightly open as I struggled to breathe. He poured something between my lips that tasted like iron and smelled like flowers. Go and see your grandfather. Once you arrive where he sleeps, unearth his grave. Truth behind the Lycoris Nuages, the mission he did not want you, lies there. Please, do make time. If Cyan Brothys discovers her secret, fall from being a god to a demon, and bring about her death.
No, Cyan, you can't! Don't! Well, that would be a bad ending, I'm assuming, which is probably where this is going to go. So then I think my other assumption when Cyan was flashing back and he saw the people in the field, I was like, was that our parents? And then the other person, I was like, was that somebody really? Well, I thought I was thinking it was Eve's grandfather, because like, yeah, you're gonna, and like, so yeah, so something about the mission that Eve's grandfather was keeping secret, he knew, and he made that comment to Cyan, like, you're gonna fall from grace, God. You know what I mean? Okay, all right. I feel like that one was a little more obvious, but
That was hot. How strange. Not since that day had I felt this sensation. Ah! Hot, hot, so hot! Someone, anyone, help me!
oh, is that supposed to be me? No, please. I don't remember her screaming. Oh, please save her. Ooh, who else is screaming that? And then okay, we've seen that scene before. I don't know who's kid screaming, and I don't want to do kid screaming voice right now. I don't know. Like, anyway.
I suddenly awoke from the pain of the burns I had completely forgotten. Why am I dreaming about that again?
Save. Was it supposed to be him? But then why is he saying? It's just random. I mean, I guess maybe. I don't know if there's something. I'm trying to read into things, but like, there might not be anything to read into. You know?
My sweat clung to me as it dripped down. I knew I was back in reality, but I was still having a hard time breathing. I thought I already put everything from the past behind me, but inside my heart, my fear of those crimson flames still remained. My breathing. I thought I wasn't able to breathe enough air earlier. Wait, my body. I somehow felt a little better.
And why am I in my kitchen?
As I looked around me, I realized I wasn't in my room anymore, but inside the storeroom.
That looks like the kitchen, but okay.
I carefully sat up. My arms were moving fine, and my fever had gone down. What in the world was going on? I was sure I was on the brink of death. couldn't believe what was going on. Before I could fully understand the situation, my body quickly moved to open the door. Expecting another intruder, I braced myself for battle. It turned out I was worried for nothing.
Ah, Eve! I'm so glad you're awake!
I thought you were going to die. It's a good thing you made it, or my brother would have been sad.
Dot, you are... I discovered an unexpected pair in front of me. A familiar boy pushing the wheelchair of an unfamiliar girl.
I love that Dahut's here.
She told me her name was Nadia and she was Lucas's younger sister. After explaining what happened, I asked them why they were here.
He's like, so, and they're like, oh, we were cleaning out the bodies in your room. What the fuck did you do, man?
Todd explained that he was ordered to investigate the hospital managed by Dr. Campesine. The reason was that some of their doctors were suspected of illegal medical practices. I can read.
No, I can't.
It just so happened he met Nadia there, who was one of Dr. Campesine's patients, and they quickly became friends. She then asked him a special request as a new friend, which led him bringing her here. When they arrived, they were surprised to see Karun in ruins, without anyone answering the door. So they snuck inside to find me in my room, unconscious and covered in blood.
Sounds about right.
Which was why they moved me to the storage area to take care of me.
I covered the bodies inside your room with some sheets I found. I have a pretty good idea why they came here, but I can't help you give them a proper I can help you give them a proper burial later if you'd like. I say we just dump them in the ocean somewhere.
I gave him my thanks with a weak smile. Actually, saying thanks wasn't enough. Turned out Dahut actually cleaned me up and changed my clothes for me. That aside, the biggest question I had was about the girl in the wheelchair. I was sure she at least knew what was going on outside the hospital. So why did she come here? I asked her why, and she responded with tears in her eyes.
My dear brother Lucas, he's been missing for days. He should have returned home, but the Royal Guard soldiers told me he wasn't there.
He's missing?
Which is why I was thinking that maybe something horrible happened to him.
Yeah, kinda did.
So I asked Dalit if he could bring me here to Karun so I could ask for your help in finding my brother.
Nadia's supposed to stay at the hospital, so taking her out like this is completely outrageous. And I just couldn't refuse her plea for help, so I sort of snuck her out of the hospital.
Well, I can't blame you. Who could deny someone with tears in their eyes searching for a missing brother? Well, I'd love to accept your order, but I was in no state to handle work right now, and I needed to go after Spacey too.
If I can borrow you for a moment...
Dalit moved away from the wheelchair and began whispering into my ear.
Let's see. I'm keeping this a secret so Nadia won't worry herself to death, but I think Lucas was, well, abducted by our friend Cyan.
Huh? I barely managed to keep from exclaiming. Abducted? Why him? Are you sure about this? Dalit nodded silently and told me that Cyan had given his staff a temporary leave of absence. It just so happened that some of Dalit's subordinates saw their guards carrying someone similar to Lucas to their cells. They continued whispering in my ear.
I have absolutely no idea why Cyan would capture him out of nowhere, but I have a bad feeling about what's happening, which is why I wanted to ask you, Eve. If you're gonna go after Spacey, would you perhaps convince Cyan to let him go? I know it's not a reward, but in return, I'll help you move without being seen by the public or the guards.
I was actually going to ask you for that. Fortunately, it seemed like I could now move as before. So if I went to the Institute now...
Institute now? Wow, that came out weird.
That's a weird accent. Go and see your grandfather. Once you arrive where he sleeps, unearth his grave. Truth behind the Lycris Noire's mission he did not want for you lies there. Please do make it in time. Cyan Brophes discovers her secret. He'll fall from being a god to a demon and bring about her death.
But, and so here's the thing that I find funny about this, though. it's like, okay, if Anko was the death that was in the field that Eve's ancestor spoke to and got the mission to protect the flowers, right? Is he trying to protect the flowers that kill everyone? What's that? That's a very strange thing. But then again, didn't we find out in Cyan's route that we're special, Adolphe's special, like he's never gotten sick, like he's past the age when people usually get sick, and it's like he's like some kind of magic boy. So like tying him in back into Anko is not far-fetched really here. But I'm curious about this. Why? And then Anko knows shit, obviously, and is like, science, he's like, no, Lucas don't do that. He's bad. Okay, Mathis is like, I don't remember what he said about Mathis, but I don't think he was like, yeah, go girl. He was like, I don't know about this. And with Cyan, he was like, fuck no. And if Cyan discovers whatever secret's in me, okay, which we already know something to do with the flowers, because I also cause misfortune like the flowers. And like Capucine kind of said that already, something about like, oh, like the Lycoris genes or whatever. So like I basically got like the genes of the flowers in me somehow. Something. I act like the flowers in a way. Okay. Something tied to that. All right. Whatever. So Cyan wants to find the cure, right? And I could understand Anko being like, no, he's gonna kill her. But like, if he figures out my secret, is my secret something that would cure the like the curse or whatever? And then he's like, I'll just dissect you in order to do it, because yeah, that would suck. He would have to kill me for that. But you know what I mean? And but then the fact that Anko's like, no, don't let him do that. It's like, you want him to, is it because you don't, like, why are you protecting the curse? That seems very interesting. You know, I could see you being like, fuck everyone else. I'm trying to protect you because I love you. Like, okay, sure. But it's more like, no, Cyan's gonna fall from being a god to a demon because he'll kill me in order to cure the curse. It's weird because they're vilifying that idea. I mean, maybe that's not the way it's going to go down, and it's going to be something else, you know? Or he's going to find something else in my blood or whatever, and he's going to be like, oh, and it's going to like warp him. Valid, okay? Not like, oh, cool, found the cure, and because of that, he has to kill me in order to whatever. And Anko's like, no, because it's like, why would you be vilifying Cyan for finding the cure to a disease, to cure an entire country, and then you are the one that's trying to protect the flowers and me and keep everyone like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Anko, are you the supervillain here? Like, you're vilifying Cyan, but when you take a step back, you're like trying to cure a rampant disease, killing one person to save everyone else. Yeah, no, you don't want to be in that position, but one for many is like shit that you can't deny. Is like, that sucks. If there was a way to not kill someone to do it, yeah, that's what you want. But one for many is like way better than like, okay, one girl gets to live and everybody else dies. I don't know, that's why they used to sacrifice people to volcanoes, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we'll just push this one bitch in the volcano and then the rest of us are cool. I don't know. I mean, I'm not justifying sacrificing people to volcano, unless it's most of the people in this. You know, actually, I'm with Anko. Fuck everyone else here. But, like, let's not vilify Cyan. But, like, fuck everyone else here. So, you know, I actually, never mind. Like, my thought process is like, don't say Cyan's the bad guy for trying to cure a disease. Just because one girl might die because you're in love with her. Like, what the fuck? That's kind of selfish and weird. But at the same time, 99% of the population here, that little handful of people that we know and love, barely makes up 1%. Okay, so 99% of the people in this country suck dick and deserve to die horrible, painful deaths. So, I guess in the end, I'm with Anko. But can we find a way then to just, like, so Cyan doesn't have to kill us, but he can create a tiny little bit of a cure that'll save, like, the handful of us that don't suck? And then we can all live happily ever after, just us little handful of peeps? in our little, this will be like a whole countryman harem for me. No, we can't bring back Hugo. That's sad. We'll figure it out. Cyan can figure it out. We'll put that on to his. Okay, so now we have. Yeah, we didn't create it, but I want you to try to figure out how to create a backup of Hugo based on his dead body. Go. We'll put him on ice. It'll be fine. And it might take him another 80 years, but I bet he could do it. Come on, it's Cyan, right? And Anko, you're in hell, so why don't you go find Hugo? He's got to be there somewhere. He was a little bit of a dick, so I don't know. You're from the other world. You should be able to pick him out. Hugo's a good boy, in all honesty. So, like, but I feel like everybody that dies here goes to hell, because, like, this place feels like hell. This place is hell, so I don't know. Anyway.
I knew I had no time to waste, but I also couldn't ignore the words I heard from that man before I blacked out. I'm sorry, but there's somewhere I need to go before the Institute. Do you mind? I felt as though someone in my genes was telling me to take action now.
And they're like, why are we coming here? I gotta dig up a dead body. And they're like, eh? And Dodd's like, I work with Cyan. I've seen weirder shit.
After recent events, it was likely no one expected me to be walking out in the open with 2 innocent children.
It's actually kind of cute that... Sorry. I think it's just funny because, yes, if you saw Eve walking around with Nadia and Dahid, you'd be like, oh, okay, it's a dude and 2 kids, right? But Dahid's like probably like 60. Like, I mean, like, he cloned himself at like 15, but like, he's probably at least 30 to 40 years old. He's older than Eve. Like, it's like, so it's kind of funny. He's the actual adult here. He's the adulty adult. That just tickles me, though. I find it amusing. I love it.
I hid my face with the hood of my cloak, walking through the shadows of Coen, still in chaos, while pushing Nadia's wheelchair. My grandpa and my parents were waiting. I slept in the field of Lycoris Noirges as guardians of those detested flowers.
Your parents, too? I knew it was his grandpa. I didn't know he buried his parents here.
Of course, I couldn't have Dahlud or Nadia go near the Lycoris Noirges, since they weren't accustomed to the area. I asked them to wait on the dirt road away from the field, where I was now standing in front of the grave, disguised as rubble.
Oh! So what you're telling me is this pile of rock over here is his grandpa's grave? And it always just looked like a ruin, like ruins. Like, oh, it was once a building, and then, like, now it's been overtaken by the... Nope, he's like, nope, that's where I buried my grandpa. Interesting. Oh, no, actually, it looks like a gravestone, so I don't know how you're hiding that.
I only came here a short while ago, but it already feels like ages since I've been here. The difference was she wasn't here with me to pay respects to my grandpa.
And you've got to dig him up, which is a little fucking weird.
I knelt before my family grave and put my hands together in prayer. I could tell even with my eyes closed that the two of them were looking at me with curiosity from afar.
They're like, you had to go to a grave? You're like, wait, it gets better. Wait till he starts digging it up.
I wasn't surprised, as I'd seen no one else offering prayers in the way as I taught.
In the way I was taught. I had no one else offering prayers in the way I was taught. What? I can't read.
I never thought of it as strange myself. It was a family tradition of ours for generations.
Is he, like, dancing? What's he doing that's so weird to them?
Descendant of the long-gone drifter. Friend of my soul.
A friend of my soul says something Adolphe would say to him. I'm just saying!
I give you my thanks from the bottom of my heart for keeping covenant with me all this time. I'll now release you from that cruel contract. If what he said to me was true, I must have seemed like a truly mysterious creature to other humans, including my eating habits. Grandpa, my ancestors, I'm sorry to bother y'all while you're sleeping. I came here to learn why our family's been protecting the field of Lycoris Noirges. And the truth of a certain girl I know. I'm gonna have to wake you up for a moment.
Simmer down. It's just construction outside.
I wasn't fully recovered, so digging up the grave was a lot more tiring than I expected, but I somehow had it in me to finish the task. Inside the coffin weren't skeletal remains, but a fire-resistant pot. I lifted up the lid to look inside at the large amount of ashes that had been stored after my family's cremation. In Arpachel, when a reliever died, their bodies were discarded and burned instead of buried. But my family was different. My grandpa and my parents were in this single pot of ashes. I took a long and deep breath. I then sank my hand deep into the ashes.
Whoa! They're like, whoa, 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 where are you putting that?
There wasn't anything inside the coffin. The only other place it could be buried be in the ashes. My guess was right. My fingers hit something hard, which I grabbed and pulled out.
Who put that there, though?
That's some kind of old book.
Again, who put it there? Because that would have gone up in flames when you put a body to... If you could cremate a body, you could cremate a book. You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a bull. But it was like, seriously, the fires are hot enough to burn your actual fucking body and your bones and everything. That book ain't gonna last. So who put it there?
I carefully opened it and turned the pages so they wouldn't tear, and read the handwritten words. At first it looked strange and illegible.
His voice makes me tired. We're gonna do a lot of it. Oh, God.
But as I flipped through the pages, I slowly began to absorb and understand the unfamiliar language written inside. The first words that caught my attention was...
The first word, sorry.
Is this botany? I wasn't familiar with this word. I went on to explain in detail how to raise plants, with information on a variety of flora. Every detail inside was knowledge that had been imparted to me by word of mouth. I quickly headed back to Dahud and Nadia, sharing the information inside the book.
I have a book about botany. Seriously? You sent me to dig up my dead grandpa for a fucking college textbook? There's something else in here, obviously, but, like, it's kind of funny.
I flipped through the pages again as they looked on in surprise.
Their surprise is like, oh. They looked on in surprise, and it was like, and then I went, and then this came up, and it was hit my brain. Okay, right, it's one of the books. That's why the writing looked weird, but yet he could read it. Okay. Right, because so if he's the descendant of the Drifter, that's actually really interesting. So the Drifter is the name of the dude that came with all those 4 books. And Mathis ended up with one of them. Mathis's family. Cyan's family ended up with one. Eve has one, but wasn't there a 4th one? Who has the 4th one? And what was the 4th one? Was it Lucas? Did Lucas's family have one? I don't know, anyway.
Well, this is a book of knowledge left by a certain person who drifted to this land. A diary left by the Drifter was apparently my ancestor and the last of his studies, which he hid. I was a merchant from a faraway land to the east, far beyond the ocean. I sailed through the tumultuous ocean to go to the countries of the west to conduct business, but I was caught adrift by a storm in the deadly waters that carried me to this twisted country. Everything about this country is strange. All the people live only 20 or so years and prepare for their deaths early on in life. The sight of such an oddity made me ask, what in the world are you people doing? Humans live much longer than 23 years, most beyond 60 years of age, and some even reaching 100 years. I told the people the truths about the outside world. In other words, natural lifespan of human beings. I was shocked to learn that the people of this country, Arpachel, could only live as long as 23 years old. I was certain it would be difficult for them to understand, yet many lamented about their lives being shorter than those far from here. Soon began to murmur amongst themselves that their short lifespans were because the god of death cursed their land. And that god of death could be Anko, and then it's like, the fuck, bro? Hearing that I possess knowledge from beyond the ocean, I was invited to meet the most brilliant scientist in the country. I want the technology and power to save the people. See, then let me share with you this book that details the mysteries of life. Sensing his passion, I gave him a book from my own possessions.
book on genetics that came from a place more advanced than my own homeland. Please save the people of this land with the knowledge I've shared with you. I was planning on giving him the other books I carried, which contained a vast array of knowledge, but no matter how much I argued that he should expand his knowledge outside the field of medicine, he simply wanted nothing to do with it, due to this country's shared desire to be released from the curse of death. Then gave the book of translations to a family fascinated by the written word. That's the Claude family, who expressed a love for literature. I sold the way of martial arts to a family born with tremendous strength as a way to help them harness their powers. Okay, so that answers that. Yes, that was. I was wondering, I'm like, did Lucas's family get one? Was it a martial arts book? But I couldn't. Okay, so yeah. Botany was the last book, which I decided to keep because of my lifelong interest in growing flowers. While I was worried about the fate of the country's scientists, I could do nothing about their lack of interest. Having obtained knowledge unfit for their culture, quickly turned mad. Tried to capture me for study, since I was the only one with abnormal longevity compared to their own people. Unable to escape from the island, I went into hiding with the help of my future wife. Since then, I've kept myself hidden, living with the intention of making this my home. I should have given him the knowledge of how life should be. I shouldn't have given him the knowledge of how life should be. So please, I ask that you use this book to learn from those mistakes, to prevent any more demons from being born. Ah, okay. So, like, alright, okay. I can kind of see where this is formulating and going. Should things be left as is, a demon without a human soul will one day be born from your very blood. I knew it to be certain after hearing that the scientists had begun research on the process of cloning. Much time has passed since then, I'm no longer certain. After my wife's spirit departed, I lived with my newborn child when a young man calling himself Death appeared. So Anko told me he was the one who planted the flowers of misfortune, the Lycoris noirs, throughout the island. Among the possessions I was able to secure on my boat were Lycoris bulbs. I intended to sell, but planted them nor sold any, since this country's already filled with Lycorises. I held my breath as I read through the surprising events of the past. So interesting. So the scientist wanted to basically, okay, so that's what it is. The scientist wanted to use the drifter as like a guinea pig to research, like whatever. So something about me would cause Cyan to basically lose his marbles and do the same thing. I mean, I kind of get why you're like, because, oh, you're a god, you're creating life and everything, and then you're going to turn into a demon by sacrificing life. But, like, I mean, yeah, I kind of get it, but at the same time, like, one person to save hundreds of thousands or like over the course of like eternity. Like, I mean, I kind of feel like that should be up to the person, maybe. But you know, this is a backwards, fucked up world, so. So, Eve, your ancestor is Eve, 4, the descendant of the Drifter who found his way to Arpachel. Interesting.
Drifter from the storybooks?
Well, when you put it that way, it doesn't seem real that I have the blood of someone so amazing. He even wrote about how he met Death. I took a deep breath with Dahlhood and Nadia. It seemed our exotic approach to food and our unique customs were traditions that had been passed down through the family. The fact that this book was in the grave was proof that my grandpa knew this too. But I haven't seen anything so far going into detail about the Lycorises. Maybe it comes out later in the book. I quickly skimmed through the pages as Dahlhood and Nadia peeked from each side to see what else was in the book. There! Something about the Lycoris flowers.
Huh? They're Lycorises, alright, but isn't the color a little strange?
You're right. Arpachel's Lycoris noirs are black, but
these ones are red. Aha! A real Lycoris. That's why it's called Noirge. Noirge is black, in French, I guess, or whatever language. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but like noir is black, and like, you know what I mean. You can generally, if you're giving a bunch of random color words, you can usually pick out what black is in different languages. It's fairly easy.
Lycris in here are cute and red like apples.
That also explains why the grandfather made the pin in red, or the hairpin.
Red lycrises. I took a closer look to discover that the lycrises were the same color as the hair ornament I gave her. Next to the drawings were words written messily in this country's language. The lycris noirs. No.
Oh, okay. Wait. What? Higanbana. That's a title of a different. Wait. That's not. That's it. Just all of a sudden my brain broke because that's like what other. There's another Otome game where Higanbana is in the title, right? It's one that's never been translated. But there, it's something, and it's like I can't think of it. But I'm like, that word's in there. It's in another one. It's a title of something else. It's not an unknown word to me. I recognize it. I've heard it before. Anyway, the Lycoris noirs. No, the flowers that bloom here are known as Higanbana, my homeland. They are known as flowers that can absorb misfortune, not bring misfortune. Ah. Huh?
Flowers in the.
Okay, I cannot pronounce that Latin word. It's Amaril something. Anyway.
Family, such as the Higanbana and lycrises, possessed a biochemical that cause
Telepathy? Allelopathy? I can't. Allelopathy? 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 Something like that. I don't know.
This suppressed nearby plant growth and kept away pests and harmful microorganisms. There was also a unique effect that attracted specific compounds from the soil and the air. In my homeland, we planted these sorts of plants on the roadside for antibacterial purposes and to keep the rats away. Which was why it puzzled me to no end why the people of this country refer to them as flowers of misfortune. Perhaps.
Oh, we're Eve and the Drifter at the same time, but anyway. Allelopathy is the true source of the curse that's overtaken this country. Whatever that is, I can't pronounce it. A unique effect of certain plants, such as lycorises, that allows them to absorb certain compounds from the soil and air to resist harmful pests and bacteria. So they're cursed flowers because they're absorbing whatever the hell is cursing us?
The toxin found in the dirt's being absorbed by the flowers.
Okay. Which would explain why if they're absorbing whatever's in there, that's why you plant more of them and you keep them. Actually, you know what? That explains also we need you to keep these flowers alive because the flowers are absorbing all of the toxins and eventually, like, but where's the toxin coming from? And if it's something, you know what I mean? Like, it's keeping it, it's not like maybe our lifespans were shorter or would be shorter if the flowers weren't leaching some of the toxins out. And that's why when you kill the flowers, you die because it instantly releases all those toxins. You know what I mean? That makes sense. All right, I can get behind that.
I found a piece of paper between the pages, which was written by my grandfather, who added his notes to supplement the material.
Our family knew the truth beforehand in accordance with our pact with death. In order to protect this country, we'll gladly raise and nurture the flowers on your behalf. Such a covenant was put into place. Don't worry about me. I wish to return to my homeland has long disappeared. So I must take action for my noble friend, whom I will never meet again. I feel like that's supposed to be the Drifter, not the grandfather, but it said my grandfather wrote the so whatever, I don't know. I promise I will nurture those detested lives for as long as I exist. My dear, beautiful death, we'll drink heartily together once we meet again. To fulfill that promise, the Drifter changed his name, appearance, and age, discarding any qualities remaining of his homeland. I relied on my botany book and my lifelong interest in plants. I shared knowledge on cultivating wheat, solving the famine plaguing the country. I negotiated with the royal family to acquire rights to the surrounding land. To protect this country, I nurtured and cherished those black flower fields. Such is the truth behind the wisdom that will be passed down to my grandson Eve. The death that the Drifter met wasn't evil at all, but good. So, Anko, okay. I know, so no, but it's still, like, interesting that it's like, you don't let Cyan figure out because he'll kill her. To try to save people, but I guess the flowers are actually saving us by leaching toxins out of the ground, but, like... And maybe, like, there's something in me that would be, oh, I can find the cure, cool! But that's not really gonna solve the problem? You know what I mean? Because, like, we're putting a Band-Aid over the problem by cloning everyone, right? And maybe creating a vaccine for the... It's like, great, it's another Band-Aid, but we're gonna have to keep using it and keep doing it because there's still gonna be toxins. You have to get to the root of the problem. Our lifespan is so short and everything because of the plants. Well, not the plants, because of whatever's in the dirt. So you can't get like, oh yeah, we increased our lifespan to 40 years now, but you're gonna have to keep creating this antitoxin or whatever. These, like, constantly need the vaccines or the whatever because the ground is still toxic. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta get rid of the toxin in the ground and then people can go back to normal. So killing me really isn't gonna do anything. So alright, okay. But, like, don't vilify Cyan. He's doing his best, okay? I just love him. So the soil is...
Poisonous? That was why... That's the reason why the people of this country can only live up to 23 years.
Curse of death. The curse is caused by powerful toxins found in Arpachel's soil.
Well, this curse was actually a phenomenon that can be understood through science. Wait, so that meant the misfortunes surrounding her. Will the events around her be explained through science and prove her innocence? Don't think any further. Stop while you're still ahead. Such were the warnings that surged through my genes, making me close the book when...
I see, so that's the truth! Everything connects perfectly now.
Who's there?
Oh, it was Cyan. I didn't think Cyan would fucking be out here. I never know when it's him now. I didn't think he'd be out here. He's at the lab. Why the fuck would he be in the middle of this field? Why is he following us? But there was something about the giddy laughter. Then part of my brain is like, it's probably fucking Cyan. But I'm like, why would it be him? Why would he be here? And then I was like, maybe it's Capucine or like, you know what I mean? But like, oh, that's true. Actually, Cyan probably killed him. But so I'm just going to go back and read it like, I guess I should have known, but like, why would he be here? What? Sir, aren't you supposed to be in a lab?
I see. So that's the truth. Everything connects perfectly now.
Anyway, who's there? Anyway.
Don't tell me you already forgot, Karun. No, the guardian of the Lycoris Nuages from the bloodline of the Drifter. I sincerely thank you. The girl's genes and the information I shared with you have finally yielded what I needed. I'm finally able to save Arpachel from this curse.
Well, I think he's going to kill us. We're not in chapter 5 yet, so we got some time. Because I thought he had 5 chapters. And I think we're only in chapter 4. But, wait. Is he, like, there on a transmitter? Because he's here now. Is he a hologram? What the fuck? Well, that explains why he's there. He was like listening in on a transmitter or something.
He's like, make sure you put the transmitter inside his pocket so I can talk to him whenever I want to.
Like, I don't know. We'll find out next time. But anyway, I will see you next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.